Okay, I'm ready.
Hello,
Oh,
Hi.
good evening. My name is Olayinka, and I'm going to give a speech on how to choose a birth control method. Um, Before I start, I'd like to say this speech has three parts. The first part is on what a birth control is. The second part is the types of birth control, and the third part is what and how can you choose birth control. Moving on, birth control can be defined according to medicinenet.com as the use of any practice, methods, and devices to help prevent unwanted pregnancy in a sexually active woman. There are different statistics that support how much birth control has evolved over the years. The first statistic says 99% of women between age 15 to 44 have used, who has had sexual intercourse, have used one sort of birth control method or the other. And about 65% of women who are married rely on birth control to prevent unwanted pregnancy. Also, there are at least 10% of women who do not practice safe sex. That is, they engage in sexual intercourse without any prevention. Here, having explained that, I would like to move on to what are the types of birth control. Now, there are different types and methods of birth control. The most popular ones happen to be, since 1982, happen to be the pill method and the female sterilization. We have other methods like the IUD, the vasectomy, and when I talk about condoms, we have the male condoms and the female condoms. But the one that is more popular happens to be the male condom, and about 5.7 million women rely on the male condom as a form of means to prevent unwanted pregnancy. Also, among the users of different contraceptive, 67% of women make use of temporary methods, which can be hormonal, implants. Implants can be like the vaginal rings and the IUDs. Having said that, I'd like to talk about the ways by which you can choose birth control. When choosing birth control, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. It's not something you get because your best friend is getting it. It has to be programmed for you by you, and it's a conscious effort you have to make with your doctor to know what really works for you. And there are questions you have to sit down and ask yourself if and what kind of birth control you would like to get. The first question to ask yourself is, do I want to have kids? And if you want to have kids, how soon would you like to have kids? Knowing this question, you can be placed on the type of birth control that would make it easy for you to wean off when you're ready to have kids, or you can be on a long-term type of birth control that doesn't require you to excuse me. Can you please turn that off? That doesn't require changing your lifestyle or anything of such. The second question is, how regularly do you have sex? And that is something to consider. For someone who they're practicing abstinence in their relationship, they may not need the use of any birth control, because abstinence itself is a type of birth control. So the frequency of sex would be a major determinant in knowing what birth control to choose. The number of sex partners is also another thing to ask yourself. Then, do you also need protection against HIV or STDs? Because some of this birth control helps in doing that. Take for instance the condom. When a condom is used in a perfect use, it works 99% of the time. The fourth question will, how does the birth control method works? The fifth question will be, what are the side effects? There are stories and reviews of some birth control making women gain weight, and there are some that makes women be nauseous. So you have to really ask these questions to understand which birth control works for you. And then you need to know if you will be able to use it correctly all the time. Like, this is a pill, and this pill, if you don't use it every day, you might find yourself at the risk of unwanted pregnancy. So in summary, I'd like to state that, as we know, the population of the world is growing at arithmetical progression, while the resources available is at a geometrical progression. And I feel like birth control is a means of cutting down the population. And so therefore, I hope I have educated you on how to choose birth control. Thank you, and have a wonderful night rest.